I used to believe trust was simple. You gave it, and if the other person smiled back, you held on tighter. That night, I trusted Ava the way I always had, without questions, without fear. "Are you sure you're okay?" she asked, resting her chin on my chest. "I'm good," I said. "Just tired." "You work too much," she replied softly. "One day we won't have to worry about that anymore." I smiled. "That's the plan, right?" "Our plan," she said. "Always our plan." Her voice was calm, warm, convincing. I believed every word. Earlier that evening we had eaten takeout on the floor because the couch felt too far away. She laughed when I dropped sauce on my shirt. "You're impossible," she said. "You love me?" "I do," she replied without hesitation. That was Ava. Confident. Smooth. Certain. She never paused when she said things like that. I leaned back against the wall and asked, "So, where do you see us in 5 years?" She didn't even look up from her food. "Same place. Together. Maybe married. Maybe somewhere better than this apartment. Maybe kids." She laughed. "Slow down. But you've thought about it?" She finally looked at me. "Of course I have. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't." Those words wrapped around me like a promise. I didn't realize promises could be hollow and still sound full. Later, when we got into bed, she curled into my side like she always did. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. She glanced at it, then flipped it face down. "Work?" I asked. "Yeah," she said quickly. "Just Mark." I nodded. "I'd heard that name before. The guy you trained?" I asked. "Yeah," she replied. "He asks too many questions." I chuckled. "At least you're helpful." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. I didn't notice then. I wanted peace, not patterns. She fell asleep before I did. Ava always slept fast, like she had nothing weighing on her mind. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the future I believed we were building. My phone was dead. I reached for hers without thinking, planning to check the time. The screen lit up. A message banner slid across the top. "I miss you already." I froze. My thumb hovered above the screen. I told myself not to look. I told myself trust meant stopping here. Another message came. "When can I see you again?" My chest tightened. "No," I whispered. I unlocked the phone. The messages were open, like they were waiting for me. "Mark, I can't stop thinking about last night." "Ava, we need to be careful." "Mark, do you regret it?" "Ava, no. I just don't want him to find out that I felt something in me." Go quiet. I scrolled. "Mark, you said you felt stuck." "Ava, I am. But it's complicated." "Mark, I'd treat you better." "Ava, I know." My hands started shaking. Not from anger. From disbelief. I read every message slowly, like my brain needed proof my eyes weren't lying. They talked about lunches. Late nights. Touches that lingered. Moments that crossed lines they both pretended didn't exist. There were no apologies. No hesitation. Just choices. I locked the phone and placed it back exactly where it was. Ava breathed softly beside me. I stared at her face, searching for something familiar. The woman I loved looked peaceful, unbothered, safe. I whispered, "How long?" She didn't answer. I didn't wake her. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I slid out of bed and went to the bathroom. I sat on the edge of the tub and pressed my hands against my face. "Think," I told myself. "Just think." My reflection looked smaller somehow. Weaker. I remembered every time I had asked, "Are we okay?" Every time she said, "Of course." I walked back into the bedroom. Ava turned slightly, still asleep. Her phone buzzed again. I picked it up and read the new message. "Mark, I wish you were here." I typed nothing. I sat on the floor with my back against the bed. My mind replayed everything. Our plans, her laughter, the way she said my name. I wasn't angry yet. I was empty. At some point, morning crept in through the curtains. Ava stirred. "Hey," she murmured. "Why are you on the floor?" I looked up at her. "Couldn't sleep." She stretched. "You should have woken me." I asked calmly, "Who is Mark to you?" Her eyes flickered. Just for a second. "What do you mean?" she asked. I said, "Is he just a coworker?" She sat up. "Why are you asking this now?" I stood. "Because I read the messages." Silence fell between us. "You went through my phone?" she said. "That's what you're worried about?" I asked. She crossed her arms. "You invaded my privacy." "You lied to my face," I said. She looked away. "It's not what you think." I nodded slowly. "That's funny. It's exactly what I think." She sighed. "It didn't mean anything." "Then why hide it?" She didn't answer. "How long?" I asked again. Her voice dropped. "A few weeks." "A few weeks," I repeated. "It was a mistake." You kept making it. She stood and walked past me. I didn't plan this. Neither did I said. She turned. I was confused. I trusted you. She rubbed her forehead. You're making this bigger than it is. I laughed softly. You slept with him. Her eyes widened. I didn't say that. You didn't have to, I replied. She cried then. Real tears. Please don't throw us away. I watched her carefully. You already did. She reached for me. I stepped back. Listen, she said. We can fix this. I shook my head. You didn't break a rule. You broke me. She whispered, I love you. I answered honestly. You love feeling safe. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. That I grabbed my jacket. Where are you going? She asked. Out, I said. I need air. Come back, she begged. That I paused at the door. I trusted you completely. She didn't reply. That I stepped into the hallway, the door closing softly behind me. I leaned against it, breathing slowly. Inside that apartment, the man I used to be was still sleeping beside her. Out here I was wide awake, holding the truth, while she slept peacefully, unaware that everything had already ended. I didn't go back to the apartment that night. I walked until my legs hurt and my mind felt empty. My phone buzzed nonstop in my pocket, but I didn't check it. I already knew who it was. When the sun came up, I was sitting on a bench near the bus stop, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed again. This time I looked. Ava, please talk to me. That I locked the screen. An hour later, another message. Ava, you're scaring me. That I laughed quietly. Good, I muttered. By noon, I had missed 3 calls and 7 messages. I finally answered when she called again. Where are you? She asked, her voice shaky. Out, I said. Can we talk? She pleaded. We already did. No, we didn't, she said. Not really. I sighed. Say what you need to say. I didn't sleep, she said. I've been crying all night. That makes 2 of us, I replied, though I hadn't shed a tear yet. Please come home, she said. I hate being alone. I know, I answered. That's part of the problem. She was quiet. That's not fair. Neither was lying to me, I said. Can we just talk face to face? She asked. That I hesitated, then said, fine. One conversation. I met her at a small cafe near our place. She was already there, eyes red, hands wrapped around a cold cup. She stood when she saw me. You came. I said I would. She reached for me. I stepped back. Sit, I said. She Saturday, I don't even know where to start, she whispered. Try the truth, I replied. She took a deep breath. I felt lonely. I nodded. You had me. You were always busy, she said. Always tired. I was working for us. I know, she said quickly. I know that now. Did you know it then? I asked. She looked down. I didn't feel seen. So you let someone else see you, I said. It wasn't planned, she insisted. You planned every lie after, I replied. She wiped her eyes. I never meant to hurt you. But you did, I said. She leaned forward. I swear it didn't mean anything. I stared at her. Then why did you risk everything? She opened her mouth, then closed it. I made a mistake, she said. You made choices, I corrected. Her voice cracked. I was afraid you'd leave me. I let out a slow breath. So you cheated first. She flinched. That's not fair. No, I said calmly. It's honest. She shook her head. You're being cold. I'm being clear, I replied. She reached across the table. Please don't give up on us. I pulled my hand away. There is no us anymore. Her eyes widened. You don't mean that. I do. She started crying harder. After everything we planned? I didn't break those plans, I said. You did. She whispered, I'll quit my job. That won't change what you did. I'll block him, she said. I'll do anything. You already did everything, I replied. She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. You're not even angry. I was, I said. Last night. And now? Now I'm done. She shook her head slowly. You can't just walk away. I can, I said. And I am. She stood abruptly. So that's it? You won't fight for me? I stood too. I shouldn't have to. She looked desperate. People make mistakes. Yes, I said. And they live with them. She whispered my name. I didn't answer. I turned and walked out. Behind me she called, please? I didn't turn around. That was the hardest part. Not yelling. Not crying. Just walking. The silence that followed was loud. That night I slept on Daniel's couch. He was my friend from work, older, calm, The kind of man who listened more than he spoke. He handed me a glass of water. You look like hell. I feel worse, I said. He sat across from me. Want to talk? Not really. Too bad, he said gently. You're here. I stared at the floor. She cheated. Daniel nodded once. I figured. You knew? I asked. I suspected, he said. You didn't? No, I admitted. He leaned back. What are you going to do? I walked away. Daniel studied me. Without a fight? Yes. He smiled slightly. That takes strength. It doesn't feel like it. It never does, he said. I rubbed my face. I keep replaying everything. That's normal. I keep wondering what I did wrong. He shook his head. That's a trap. It feels personal. It isn't, he said. It's about her choices. I was quiet for a moment. She cried. They always do, Daniel said. That doesn't make it easier. No, he agreed. But it makes it clearer. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed again. Ava, I can't breathe without you. I typed, then erased. Ava, please answer. I turned the phone off. The next day I didn't go to work. I stayed inside, replaying memories I couldn't stop. Her laugh. Her voice. Her promises. By evening, I felt hollow. Daniel knocked on the door. You coming out? Not today. He handed me a plate. Eat. I'm not hungry. Eat anyway. I took a bite. It tasted like nothing. She keeps texting, I said. Block her, he replied. That feels final. That's the point, he said. I hesitated, then did it. The silence that followed was terrifying. What now? I asked. Daniel shrugged. Now you rebuild. I don't know how. You will, he said. One day at a time. I laughed bitterly. I don't even know who I am without her. He looked at me steadily. Then this is your chance to find out. That night I cried for the first time. Quietly. Alone. Not because I missed her, because I finally understood I had loved someone who never loved me the same way, and I had walked away without a fight. Not because I was weak, but because I was done bleeding for someone who wouldn't stop cutting me. Rock bottom didn't arrive with drama. It came quietly, like everything else in my life after Ava. No calls. No apologies. Just silence and unpaid bills. Daniel looked at me across the small kitchen table and said, You can't keep living like this. I'm surviving, I replied. That's not living, he said. I stared at my empty coffee cup. It's all I've got right now. You've got more than you think, Daniel said. You're just scared to use it. I laughed softly. I'm scared of failing. You already did, he said calmly. Now you can't fall much further. That line stayed with me longer than I wanted to admit. I was broke. Rent overdue. Savings gone. My phone buzzed with reminders I couldn't silence. I ate cheap food and slept in borrowed spaces. Emotionally, I felt numb, like someone had turned the volume down on my life. One morning, Daniel said, I have an opportunity for you. I looked at him. I'm not in the mood for charity. It's not charity, he replied. It's risk. Risk how? You either sink completely or start swimming. I hesitated. What is it? A contract job, he said. Hard work. Long hours. No guarantees. No guarantees, I repeated. That's life? Daniel said. I thought about Ava's messages I still hadn't opened. About the future I lost. About how tired I was of feeling small. Fine, I said. I'll try. Good, Daniel replied. Don't quit when it hurts. It already hurts, I said. That's why this might work, he answered. The first day was brutal. I felt out of place, underqualified, invisible. People spoke to me like I wasn't there. One woman barely looked up when I introduced myself. Sarah, she said flatly. Do your work. Don't waste my time. I nodded. Understood. She didn't smile. She didn't ask questions. She treated me like a number. Strangely, I liked it. Later I asked, is she always like that? Daniel chuckled. She respects results. Nothing else. That night my phone buzzed again. Ava's name flashed on the screen. I didn't open it. Another message came. I turned the phone face down. Running from something? Daniel asked. Closing a door? I replied. He nodded. Good. Days blurred together. Work. Sleep. Repeat. Pain sharpened my focus. Every rejection made me faster. Every doubt made me quieter. Sarah watched everything without comment. One afternoon she said, You missed a detail. I'll fix it, I replied. You should have caught it the first time, she said. I will next time. She studied me. See that you do. No insults. No comfort. Just expectations. For the first time in weeks, I felt something close to purpose. That night, Daniel asked, "How does it feel?" "Hard," I said. "Clean." He smiled. "That's progress." My phone buzzed again. "Ava?" Daniel raised an eyebrow. "Still her?" "Yes." "You going to answer?" "No." "Good," he said. "Let silence teach her what you already learned." I lay awake that night thinking about pain. How it stripped things down. How it removed excuses. Pain didn't make me weaker. It made me precise. At work, Sarah finally spoke more than 2 sentences to me. "You're improving," she said. "Thank you," I replied. "Don't thank me," she said. "Keep earning it." I nodded. Later she asked, "Why are you here?" I answered honestly. "I need to rebuild." She paused. Then stopped looking backward. "I am," I said. She didn't respond, but she stopped ignoring me. One evening, Daniel said, "You're different." "I don't feel it." "You don't have to," he replied. "Others see it first." That night, Ava left a voicemail. I didn't listen. I deleted it. For the first time, that choice didn't hurt. A week later, Sarah called me into her office. "This project," she said, sliding papers across the desk, "is failing." I swallowed. "I can help." She raised an eyebrow. "You're confident." "I'm focused," I said. She studied me for a long moment. "Prove it." I worked through the night. No distractions. No memories. Just problems and solutions. When I finished, my hands were shaking, not from fear but from effort. I handed her the results. She reviewed them silently. Finally she said, "This works." I let out a slow breath. "Don't get comfortable," she added. "I won't," I said. She nodded once. "Good." I walked outside and looked at the sky. It felt different. Wider. Daniel called. I heard. "I didn't fail," I said. "No," he replied. "You didn't." My phone buzzed again. "Ava." I deleted the message without reading it. For the first time since she left, I smiled, not because I was happy but because I wasn't finished. Rock bottom hadn't crushed me. It had given me something solid to push against. Months didn't change me overnight. They worked slowly like pressure on stone. One morning, Daniel looked at me and said, "You're standing differently." I frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means you don't look apologetic anymore," he replied. I thought about that all day. I woke up earlier. I ate better because I needed energy, not comfort. I trained my body the way I trained my focus, without emotion, without excuses. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't smile, but I didn't look away either. At work, Sarah said, "You're consistent." "That's the goal," I replied. "Most people burn out," she said. "You haven't." "I don't have room to," I answered. She nodded. "That explains it." I stopped talking about Ava completely. Not because it hurt, but because it didn't matter anymore. Her name felt like an old password that no longer worked. One night, Daniel found me throwing things into a box. "What's that?" he asked. "Old photos," I said. "Keeping them?" "No," I replied. I taped the box shut. He watched quietly. "Does it feel strange?" "No," I said. "It feels clean." I blocked numbers I hadn't blocked before. Mutual contacts. Old group chats. Anything that tied me to a version of myself I didn't recognize anymore. At lunch one day, a guy from another department said, "You're doing well lately." I looked up. "Am I?" "People notice," he said. "Your name comes up." I nodded, uninterested. Later that week, I heard my name in a conversation I wasn't part of. "Yeah, he's sharp," someone said. Didn't expect that from him. I kept walking. Daniel laughed when I told him. "See, I'm not doing this for them," I said. "That's why it works," he replied. A few days later, Liam messaged me. "Liam, long time man. Me, yeah. What's up?" "Liam, just heard some good things about you. Me, work stuff." "Liam, still impressive." I thanked him politely and moved on. I didn't know he was still talking to Ava. I found out later. One evening, my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar tone. Ava had found another way. "Ava, hey. Just checking in." I stared at the screen, then locked it. Another message came the next day. "Ava, I heard you're doing really well." I didn't respond. Daniel noticed. "She's back." "Trying," I replied. He smirked. "Of course she is." A week passed. "Ava, I'm proud of you." I exhaled slowly and deleted it. "She doesn't get access anymore," I said aloud. Sarah overheard me once when I muttered under my breath. "Personal distraction?" she asked. "Former," I replied. She nodded. "Good." At a work event, someone introduced me to a reporter. "This is the guy I told you about," the man said. The reporter smiled. I've heard. I shook hands politely. Nice to meet you. Your story's interesting, she said. I'm just doing my job, I replied. She laughed. That's what they all say. I walked away before the conversation could go further. That night, Ava called that I didn't answer. She left a voicemail that I deleted it. Liam messaged me again. Liam, you've changed. Me, people do. Liam, Ava asked about you. I paused. Me, don't update her. Liam, I didn't realize. Me, please don't. He replied a minute later. Liam, understood. I sat quietly, feeling nothing sharp, nothing heavy. Just clarity. Daniel said later, that's power. It doesn't feel like power, I replied. It never does when it's real, he said. That AT work. Sarah handed me a new responsibility. Don't mess it up, she said. I won't, I replied. She looked at me carefully. You're calm. I'm focused, I said. She gave a short smile. Same thing sometimes. A few days later, I overheard two people talking in the hallway. She regrets it, one said. Too late, the other replied. They didn't know I was there. I didn't stop walking. That night, Ava tried again. Ava, can we just talk? No pressure. I typed nothing. Ava, I miss you. I didn't react. Ava, I miss us. I finally whispered. There is no us. I blocked the number. Daniel watched me do it. Final? Yes, I said. He nodded. Good timing. Weeks passed. My bank account stopped scaring me. My body felt stronger. My mind felt quieter. At another event, someone said, you're hard to reach. I smiled politely. I'm busy. Good busy, they said. Yes, I replied. I saw Ava once. From a distance. She was sitting at a cafe with Liam. She looked tired. Distracted. I kept walking. Later, Liam texted. Liam, she saw you. Me, okay. Liam, she looked shocked. Me, that's not my problem. He didn't reply. That night, Daniel asked, how do you feel? I thought for a moment. Detached. He smiled. That's growth. The next message from Ava came through an old email address. Ava, I know you're ignoring me. I deserve that. I just need you to know I think about you every day. I read it once, then archived it. Sarah said to me the next morning, you're being considered. For what? I asked. Bigger things, she replied. I nodded. I'll be ready. Later that day, someone said, you used to be different. I replied calmly, I used to allow less. They didn't understand. I didn't explain. That night, I looked at my phone and realized something. Ava wasn't missing me. She was missing access. She was missing control. She was missing the man who waited, who explained, who stayed. I wasn't that man anymore. And for the first time, I understood the power shift hadn't come from success. It came from silence. I didn't expect to see my name online. I was drinking coffee when Daniel said, you might want to sit down. I frowned. Why? He turned his phone toward me. Because this is real. I read the headline once. Then again, is this a joke? I asked. Daniel shook his head. No, my name stared back at me, bold and public. The article talked about resilience, growth, and discipline. It rewrote my pain into something clean and impressive. This doesn't feel like me, I said. It is, Daniel replied. Just not the version you remember. I scrolled slowly. Quotes from people I barely knew. Comments from strangers who didn't know my story but admired the result. They don't know what it cost, I muttered. Daniel smiled. They never do. My phone buzzed before I finished the article. Ava. I stared at the screen. Daniel raised an eyebrow. That didn't take long. I let it ring. It rang again, and again. Daniel said, you don't owe her anything. I know, I replied. The phone stopped. A message appeared. Ava, is this really you? I locked the screen. Minutes later, another message. Ava, I just saw the article. I can't believe it. I said nothing. Daniel leaned back. She's panicking. She lost control, I replied. That's not the same as regret, he said. I know. The phone buzzed again. Ava, we need to talk. I finally typed. Me. No, the response came instantly. Ava, please. Me, there's nothing to say. My hands didn't shake. That surprised me. Daniel watched quietly. You're calm. I don't need answers anymore, I said. That afternoon, Sarah called me into her office. I assume you've seen it, she said. Yes, I replied. Good, she said. Attention brings opportunity. I'm not chasing attention, I said. She nodded. That's why it found you. I left her office and saw people looking at me differently. Respect. Curiosity. Distance. My phone buzzed again. Ava, I'm outside. I stopped walking. Daniel called immediately. Don't do it. I won't, I said. But I'm not running either. I walked downstairs. She was standing near the entrance, hands clenched, eyes wide. She looked smaller than I remembered. You came, she said. I didn't invite you, I replied. She stepped closer. I just needed to see you. You've seen enough, I said. Her voice shook. You look different. I am. She swallowed. I read everything. That wasn't written for you, I replied. She laughed nervously. Everyone knows your name now. I said nothing. She took a breath. I'm proud of you. That means nothing to me, I said calmly. Her face tightened. Why are you like this? Because I learned, I replied. She crossed her arms. You don't have to punish me. I'm not, I said. I'm living. She shook her head. You're acting like I never mattered. You mattered, I replied. You just don't anymore. Her eyes filled with tears. That's cruel. No, I said. It's honest. She stepped closer again. I made a mistake. You made a pattern, I replied. I lost everything, she said. That I looked at her carefully. You lost access. She frowned. What does that mean? It means you don't get to reach me anymore, I said. She whispered. I didn't think you'd actually leave. I did, I replied. And now you're famous, she said bitterly. I'm respected, I corrected. She laughed sharply. You think you're better than me now? I think I'm better than who I used to be, I said. She wiped her face. I need you. You miss stability, I replied. She shook her head. I miss you. No, I said. You miss control. Her expression broke. You don't get to decide that. I already did, I replied. She looked around nervously. People are watching. Then say what you came to say, I said. She lowered her voice. I regret it. I waited. That's it? I asked. She blinked. What do you mean? Is that all? I asked. No accountability. No understanding. She frowned. I said I regret it. You regret the outcome, I said. Not the choice. Her jaw tightened. You're twisting this. No, I replied. I finally see it clearly. She stepped back. So what? You win. I shrugged. This isn't a game. Then why does it feel like I'm losing everything? She asked. Because you built your life on someone else, I said. She laughed through tears. I thought you'd always be there. I was, I replied. Until you made sure I wouldn't be. She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. You don't need me anymore. No, I said simply. She whispered. I hate this version of you. I nodded. I love him. She stared, speechless. I didn't change to hurt you, I continued. I changed to survive. She shook her head slowly. You're cold? I'm steady, I replied. She took a shaky breath. Can we start over? I didn't hesitate. No, her shoulders slumped. Then why did you come down here? So you could see the end, I said. She looked up sharply. This isn't the end. For me it was months ago, I replied. She laughed weakly. I thought if you ever succeeded you'd come back. I didn't succeed to return, I said. I succeeded to move forward. Her voice broke. You used to fight for me. I used to bleed for you, I replied. She flinched. I didn't know. You didn't want to, I said. She wiped her tears. People are saying you're strong. I am, I replied. And I'm what? She asked. That I answered honestly. A lesson. She inhaled sharply. You're enjoying this? No, I said. I'm done with it. She stood there, silent, defeated. I should go, she whispered. Yes, I said. She hesitated. Will I ever hear from you again? No, I replied. She nodded slowly. I thought losing you would break me. I said nothing. She turned to leave, then stopped. I loved you. I met her eyes. You loved what I gave you. She walked away. Daniel was waiting upstairs. You okay? Yes, I said. He smiled. She finally saw it. So did I replied. That night, I reread the article once more. My past pain had become proof, not weakness. Ava didn't miss me. She missed the man she could reach, control, and depend on without giving anything back. And I never planned revenge. That I just stopped needing her validation, and that changed everything. I didn't hear about Ava's downfall from her. I heard it from silence, from gaps where confidence used to be. Daniel mentioned it first. She quit her job. I didn't look up. Did she? Yes, he said. Or was asked to. I nodded slowly. That happens. She's not doing well, he added. I know, I replied. That he studied me. How? She wouldn't be quiet if she was, I said. That a few days later, Liam messaged me. Liam, she's asking about you again. Me, I told you not to update her. Liam, I didn't. She's spiraling that I typed nothing. At work, Sarah said. You seem lighter. I let something go, I replied. She nodded. That usually helps. Ava emailed me that night. Ava, I don't expect you to reply. I just need to say this, that I didn't open it. The next message came a day later. Ava, I lost my apartment. That I stared at the screen longer this time. Daniel noticed. You don't owe her rescue. I know, I said. Then don't confuse sympathy with responsibility, he replied. That night, Ava showed up where I didn't expect her. I was leaving work when I heard my name. I turned. She looked exhausted. No makeup. No confidence. Just fear. I waited, she said. I didn't ask you to, I replied. I know, she whispered. I just needed to see you. I sighed. Why? Because everything is falling apart, she said. I nodded. That happens too. She flinched. You don't care at all? I care, I said. Just not the way you want. She swallowed. I don't have anyone else. That didn't stop you before, I replied. She closed her eyes. I messed up. Yes, I said. I ruined everything, she whispered. Yes, I repeated. She stepped closer. I need closure. I looked at her carefully. You want comfort. I want peace, she insisted. So do I replied. She laughed bitterly. Then why won't you talk to me? I am talking, I said. I'm just not fixing. Her shoulders shook. I don't recognize myself anymore. That's what happens when lies collapse, I said. She wiped her face. I thought you'd be here when that happened. I replied. You pushed me away. She whispered. I thought you'd come back. I did, I said. Just not to you. She stared at me. I need forgiveness. I paused. Why? So I can breathe, she said. I nodded slowly. I forgive you. Her eyes widened. Really? Yes, I said. But forgiveness isn't access. Her expression fell. Then what does it change? It changes me, I replied. Not you. She started crying. I don't understand. You don't have to, I said. You just have to accept it. She shook her head. I thought forgiving meant starting over. No, I replied. It means letting go without hate. She wiped her tears. You're so calm. I worked for this calm, I said. She laughed weakly. I destroyed myself, didn't I? I didn't do it, I replied. No, she agreed. I did. She sat on the steps, defeated. I lost the one person who would have saved me. I looked down at her. I would have. She looked up sharply. Then why didn't you? Because saving someone who won't stop choosing the fire means burning with them, I said. She broke then. Fully. I was selfish. Yes, I said. I was scared, she added. Yes, I repeated. I didn't think consequences would last this long, she whispered. They always do, I said. She hugged herself. What happens now? You rebuild, I replied. Like you did? She asked. Yes, I said. But alone. She nodded slowly. I deserve that. I was quiet for a moment. This is our last conversation. She looked terrified. Please don't say that. I need it, I said. For closure. She swallowed. Can I ask one thing? Yes, I replied. Did you ever think about coming back? She asked. I answered honestly. No, that hurt her more than anger ever could. I guess that's my answer, she whispered. I nodded. Take care of yourself. She stood slowly. You too. As she walked away, I felt no triumph. No joy. Just peace. Daniel called later. You okay? Yes, I said. You sound sure, he replied. I am, I said. That night, I slept without memories chasing me. Ava emailed once more. Ava, I understand now. I didn't just lose you. I lost the man who would have saved me. I archived it. Not because it hurt, but because it was finally true. I didn't punish her. I didn't chase karma. I let her live with herself. And I chose peace over being right. That was the final separation. Not anger. Not revenge. Acceptance. The quiet after everything surprised me the most. No messages. No regrets knocking at the door. Just space. Daniel noticed first. You're not restless anymore. I'm not waiting anymore, I replied. He smiled. That's the difference. I sat across from him, coffee warm in my hands, and said, I used to think closure needed words. And now, he asked. Now I think it needs distance, I said. He nodded slowly. You found it. Work felt different too. Not louder. Not dramatic. Just steady. Sarah said one morning, you're reliable. I worked hard for that, I replied. She looked at me carefully. You don't chase approval. I don't need it, I said. That's rare, she answered. That I didn't tell her why. I didn't need to. Weeks passed without Ava's name crossing my screen or my mind. That was the real victory. Not blocking her. Not forgiving her. Forgetting the pull. Daniel asked one night, do you ever think about her? I considered the question honestly. Not the way I used to. How do you think about her now? He asked. Like a chapter, I said. Closed. He smiled. Good ending? Necessary ending, I replied. That I walked home alone that night and realized something else had changed. I wasn't afraid of silence anymore. Silence used to feel like punishment. Now it felt like control. At work, someone congratulated me. You've come a long way, they said. I'm still walking, I replied. They laughed. You always do that. Do what? I asked. Undersell yourself, they said. I shrugged. I just don't need to prove anything. That was true. I didn't need applause. I didn't need witnesses. I needed peace, and I had it. One evening, I found an old box while cleaning. Inside were things I'd forgotten to throw away. A photo. A note. A key. I stared at them for a long moment. You still holding on to ghosts? Daniel asked from the doorway. I shook my head. Just saying goodbye properly. I threw the key away. I kept nothing else. Later Daniel said, that was the last tie. I know, I replied. He watched me carefully. You sure you're done? Yes, I said. I don't feel pulled back. That's growth, he said. I didn't argue. At a small gathering, someone asked, so what happened to your ex? I answered calmly, we grew in different directions. That's mature, they said. It's accurate, I replied. I didn't need to tell them the whole story. The details weren't important anymore. What mattered was who I became after. Sarah pulled me aside one afternoon. There's an opportunity coming, she said. I'm listening, I replied. It's bigger responsibility, she added. More visibility. I met her eyes. I can handle it. She smiled slightly. I know. As I walked away, I realized something else. I trusted myself now. Not blindly. Not desperately. Calmly. That night, I stood in front of the mirror longer than usual. I studied my face, my posture, my eyes. I said quietly, you're different. The man staring back didn't flinch. I remembered the version of myself who begged for honesty, who explained his pain, who waited for reassurance. I won't abandon you again, I said to my reflection. That mattered more than anything. Daniel called later. You free? Yes, I said. Dinner? He asked. Sure, I replied. At the restaurant, he said, you know what I admire most? What? I asked. You didn't replace her, he said. You replaced your mindset. I smiled. That took longer. But it lasted, he replied. I nodded. That was the goal. On the walk home, my phone buzzed with a notification. Not from Ava. Not from the past. It was a reminder for tomorrow. Or progress. Life. I smiled. For a moment, I thought about everything that happened. The betrayal. The silence. The rebuilding. The headlines. The regret that arrived too late. None of it hurt anymore. I realized then that winning her back was never the prize. That would have meant returning to a version of myself who accepted less than he deserved. What I won instead was clarity. Boundaries. Self-respect. The ability to walk away without looking over my shoulder. I didn't rise to punish anyone. I didn't succeed to prove anything. I didn't heal to be admired. I healed so I could breathe without asking permission. I healed so silence wouldn't scare me. I healed so love, if it ever came again, would meet a man who knew his worth. Ava faded the way old echoes do. Slowly. Naturally. Without effort. I didn't erase her. I outgrew her. That night, as I turned off the lights and lay down, I felt something steady settle in my chest. Peace, not excitement, not revenge. Peace. I whispered one last truth to myself. I didn't lose her. I paused. I found me. And that was the quiet victory no headline could ever explain. Silent growth was the strongest revenge, and I never looked back.